Ridiculous. And now we're joined by Joseph McBride, another attorney. Famously, your client sat at Nancy Pelosi's outer office desk. I'm not actually sure. Let's take a look at Bigo's feet up on the desk there for a moment, Mr. McBride, and we'll get back to you in a second. There he is. Actually, my first question is that Nancy Pelosi's secretary's desk, or is that actually Nancy Pelosi's desk?
It is not Nancy Pelosi's desk.
You know, I had a feeling because everyone says that in the media, and I'm looking at it and no, that's a staffer's desk, and that makes a lot of sense. So your client, by the way, has been out of jail since April 27th. I believe he's awaiting trial. What's next?
He sure is. He's home, and right now we are in the discovery process. This, as you well know, is the biggest investigation in the history of the Department of Justice. As such, there is a massive amount of material that the DOJ needs to obtain and subsequently turn over, and then we review. So we are in the discovery, exchange, and review process for the foreseeable future. Trial likely in this case won't be till next year.
So your guy, Bigo, who we've met on the show, and is possibly one of the most notorious characters of January 6th. You secured his release somehow, and so many others are still in jail. How'd you pull that off? What should the other lawyers be doing that they're not doing that you already did?
So, Greg, it's a reasonable judge and application of law to fact. What I can say about the January 6ers who remain incarcerated or detained at this point is that their constitutional rights and human rights are being violated by the Department of Justice and the federal government at this very moment. The law is clear that no punishment of any kind is appropriate for a detainee. Despite that, numerous detainees are being held in solitary confinement for long periods of time. They're being denied medical care. They're taking beatings. They're being denied sleep. They're being psychologically, emotionally, and physically tortured on a regular basis.
Wait, hold on a second. Who's beating them up? Other prisoners getting into fights that happens in prison, or staff? What are you actually alleging here?
I am alleging that the guards are beating them up. The staff are beating these prisoners on a regular basis and have been doing so for a long time. This is no exaggeration.
Was your client Richard Barnett, nicknamed Bigo, sitting at that desk famously? Was he beaten up by staff?
Absolutely was. He was beaten. He was dragged. He was hogtied. At one time, his pants dropped below his ankles, exposing his private parts while he was taking a beating in front of a female officer, and he had to beg and plead to be able to pull his pants up out of embarrassment. Greg, it's important to note that solitary confinement is widely accepted as torture by the ACLU, the United Nations, the Legal Aid Society, multiple members of Congress, including Elizabeth Warren. At this point, we're going to call on Amnesty International to investigate the human rights violations taking place in the DC Gulag right now.
You know what? I've got my issues with Amnesty International, but they're good for some things. I understand that they are very concerned, have been, about GITMO. And the more I hear, the more this sounds like GITMO. And it shouldn't be happening in America. It should not be happening in America. Joseph McBride, Richard Barnett's attorney, I want you to say hello to Bigo. Hey, he may have to go to jail. That's up for a jury and a judge and you guys, but we all make mistakes, and maybe he made a big one. We'll see. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. God bless America.
God bless.